All right, in this skill review, we're going to look at some more things to do with fractions, and these are called complex fractions. What a complex fraction is a complex fraction is a fraction inside a fraction. And so what that generally looks like is it looks like something like this. It might look like 1/3 over 2. And so the numerator in this particular fraction is 1/3. Or maybe you have 2 over 1/3. So in this case, the denominator is 1/3. Those are both considered complex fractions. Even additionally, you could have a fraction over a fraction, so something like 3/5 over 4/7. That would be a complex fraction. So these are what we're dealing with. Now our method for these is to clear the denominator or get rid of the denominator. So our method is to, we're going to call it clearing the denominator, which is essentially the same making the denominator 1. And the way you do that is multiplying by the reciprocal of the denominator. Now, when we're talking about reciprocal, hopefully you've heard that word before. And what it means is you just flip the fraction. So in the first case, the method says clearing the denominator, which is making the denominator 1 by multiplying the reciprocal of the denominator. So if I take this one, for example, 1/3 over 2. Well, I don't like having a fraction over a number, so I need to get rid of the denominator. Now notice, I'm getting rid of the denominator, and that's an important distinction to make. Okay, and so I'm going to do that by taking the reciprocal of 2. Well, the reciprocal of 2 is just 1/2. I multiply the top by 1/2, I multiply the bottom by 1/2. The reason we did that is because 2 times 1/2 just equals 1. And so we end up with 1/3 times 1/2, which is 1/6 over 1. But anything over 1 just equals itself. So it's 1/6 is your answer. So the key was multiply the top and the bottom by the reciprocal of the denominator. So for instance, if I did this one, if I did 2 over 1/3, I would multiply the top and the bottom by 3 over 1. Well, that becomes 1. 2 times 3 over 1 is just 6. So you end up with 6 over 1, which is 6. And so 1/3 over 2 is 1/6. 2 over 1/3 is 6. All right, so let's look quickly at a few examples of this. You got 1/5 over 2. Well, the method was multiply by the reciprocal of the denominator. The denominator is 5 over 1, which is just the same as 5. Denominator just becomes 1. Numerator is 2 times 5, which is 10. 10 over 1 is 10. So the 2 over 1/5 is equivalent to, or the same as, 10. All right, 3 over 2/3. Again, multiply by the reciprocal. 2/3 times 3/2. The 2 cancels, the 3 cancels. That gives you the desired 1 in the denominator. 3 times 3 over 2. Well, remember, 3 is just the same as 3 over 1. So you end up with 3 over 1 times 3 over 2, which is 9/2. 9/2 over 1 is just 9/2. Or we could change it to 4.5 if we wanted to make it a mixed number. Okay, so it's a very simple procedure of just multiplying by the reciprocal of the denominator. On this particular problem, you multiply by 3/2 again, same as we did before. This one, again, you get 1 in the denominator. 1/4 times 3/2 is just equal to 3/8. Well, 3/8 over 1 is just 3/8, and so that's your answer. Example 4, 1 over 2 minus 1/3. Well, now this goes back to order of operations, and in order of operations, parentheses always come first. Well, you can imagine the numerator being in parentheses and the denominator being in parentheses. So we must do 2 minus 1/3 before we do anything else. Okay, so 2 minus 1/3 is going to give you 1. Well, 2 minus 1/3 is going to give you, well, 2 is the same as 6/3. So 6/3 minus 1/3 is 5/3. So that's going to give you 1 over 5/3, which equals 3/5. And so that's going to give you 3/5 as your answer to that problem. Okay, so again, take care of the denominator first, then multiply by the denominator. The way 1 over 5/3 is 3/5 because you multiply the numerator and the denominator by 3/5. So that becomes 1, so you end up with 1 times 3/5, which is 3/5. Okay? All right, and then this last one we'll look at two more examples. Again, do the subtraction. 3 is the same as 15 over 5. So it's just a matter of being able to do the subtraction. So that's going to give you 2 over 15 over 5 minus 3 over 5 is 12 over 5. I need to clear the denominator. And the way you clear the denominator is by making it 1, which is by multiplying by the reciprocal. So I multiply by 5/12. And I end up with, well, cancel out 2 and 12 becomes 6. And so 1 times 5/6 is just 5/6. I don't even have to worry about the denominator. I can just start leaving it alone because I know that I designed it to be 1. All right, my last example. This one's tricky because you actually have 2 layers of this going on. So the first thing we're going to do is deal with this bottom layer. Okay? Deal with this right here. That's the first thing we need to do. So 1 minus 3/4, well, hopefully you can kind of do that in your head. 1 is just 4 over 4. 4 over 4 minus 1 over 4 is just 3/4. Now I need to take care of this complex fraction first, so I'm going to multiply by the numerator and the denominator. This cancels, so I end up with 1 over 1 minus, well, 1 times 4/3 is just 4/3. 1 is the same as 3/3, so you get 3 over 3 minus 4 over 3. I just took this 1 and made it 3 over 3. So that's going to give me 1 over negative 1/3. So now 1 over negative 1/3. I need to multiply by the reciprocal. Now notice the reciprocal of a negative number is negative. So I'm going to multiply 1 times negative 3 and get negative 3. And so 1 over 1 minus 1 over 1 minus 1/4 is equal to negative 3. Okay, so that's how you deal with complex fractions. You'll have some good examples of these. Again, it's really a matter of using order of operations, staying very, very organized, and remembering the way you clear a denominator is by multiplying by the reciprocal of the denominator. And you always multiply the top and the bottom because in a fraction we always have to multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same thing.